So we're just kind of
It is my favorite thing. It is literally, there is like a solid 2 minutes of opening of me. I hit record in the booth and you're just sitting there wide-eyed being like, is it good? and it lasts, yeah, and it lasts 2 entire minutes. And I added an edit on the one I said I wouldn't edit that says, I like these, so they're staying. I do. I love it. I really like the just pre-show.
The pre-show reframing that we got going on.
You like that?
Yeah, that looks great.
Bring it down just a little bit.
Okay.
Headroom's always good.
Do you just want to get the name of the company in there?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Leading line, man.
Oh, yeah.
No, we know what's up. We know what's up.
Great.
Yep.
Have fun. It's recording. I'm gonna go home.
Okay, bye,
Oh, that's
Alan.
true. Have a good day at home. Okay. Yeah. Nice guy.
He's a good guy.
Also, it is a good shot. The one I just edited, that is literally encoding as we're speaking, is the one where I talked about the Legends universe, and I'm gonna do that again. I really like doing that. I want to do more. And my biggest problem with it is that I was like hanging out, like off the edge of the, like I'm hanging off the edge of the screen like this the whole time, and I hate that. So I'm gonna make an endeavor, but also,
Why would you do that to
and you
yourself?
can't really see it. This is a modular table. We use it all the time for like all kinds of shows. We have a bunch of different tabletops that we can use, and this is for whatever reason just the talk show one, because it kind of has like
Yeah.
a nook and then places for like 1 to 3 guests. But like
Okay.
this is our best setup, and these nodes are where the pillars are, and it's like that wide, so I can't get any closer. I can't get comfortable.
I put myself in the
it's
same,
awful.
I kind of put myself in the same spot.
Yeah.
I've also got just like
It
this corner
sucks.
going to be right here.
Yeah, this particular thing sucks, but also it's what looks good on camera. So
Should we like look at different tables?
on the podcast,
Or maybe in a different episode. I don't know.
maybe the one where we look at tabletops,
The one where we go to IKEA.
the one where we go to IKEA. Oh, dude, I just my
IKEA
friend.
would make a great podcast episode, actually.
It would. Have you ever seen? Are you a fan of power metal? I know you. You're not.
I don't know what that is.
Well, I say I know you. You've told me your tastes in music,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
assume it was comprehensive. I don't know.
It was pretty comprehensive.
Okay,
I'm sitting here in a John Lennon shirt, so.
There you go. But so a friend recently introduced me to Valhallelujah, which is which he described as power metal meets Norse mythology meets the IKEA catalog. Or sorry, it's Norse mythology meets Christmas meets the IKEA catalog. It's fun.
IKEA catalogs and they're singing about furniture, or it's just they made up
Kinda.
the
They're
weird
like,
words?
well, so like I think the idea is like it's Christmas, but that's Odin's holiday actually, and he's the god of IKEA. That's right. He's Swedish apparently. And that's where all the North gods went. They're doing IKEA stuff. So thank Odin for your furniture. It's a power metal song.
That's where all the Norse gods went. They're in IKEA.
Apparently.
Looking for a new kitchen set or some shit.
Well, no, apparently they make the kitchen sets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like we're supposed to thank them for that. Anyway, hi, welcome
Hi.
to Maybe Friends.
I'm Will, that's Hunter, and we're maybe friends.
We're maybe friends, and this is the episode where Will was going to tell us about his politics. Will,
Yay! Oh, where to begin, really? Do you have any, like...
that's fully up to you.
I was wondering-
Do you want to do this interview style? What do you want?
I was thinking
Dealer's choice.
I was hoping for like a starting question to get me on.
starting
To get me
question.
something to go off of, and I can maybe find a few tangents.
How much of your family watches this show?
I don't,
If I want to go like salted earth, which maybe we shouldn't do with the
I don't
Northwest
think my
Access
family
logo.
is watching this show, so I think we're okay. But I
Okay,
don't.
my family does.
Oh, cool.
The politics episode has not come out yet because I'm sitting here being like, am I going to get yelled at? Yes. Like, yes, they are
For what
going
you
to
said about the
disagree with
Democrats
me.
or what you said about the Republicans?
That's the weird thing. Most of what I said was yelling at the Democrats. As far as I remember, I haven't like scrubbed it.
But you also-
to my recollection, the most animated I got was because I am absolutely furious with the Democrats.
But I think the thing that balances it out is the fact that you said it's my party. So like,
so
you agree
okay,
with them, but there's practices
right,
that
but
are-
so no, but because it's my party, I should be holding them accountable. Like that's the whole point.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
exactly.
I don't. if I
Like-
stay quiet, I'm just signing on to everything they do I don't like.
Exactly.
Yeah. No. So anyway,
And you know what? I'm going to use that as my jumping off point.
okay,
because
sure, yeah.
a lot of things you said the other week, not last week, but the week before, like, aligned with me a lot. And I feel like I can communicate that now because I've thought about it
So this
for
is
20 minutes.
This is a really important thing. Like the name of this podcast isn't a bit. We've never talked about this. The closest we've been is that like there have been days in the office. Like, listen, my mom works for the refugee resettlement program. Like there have been days where it's just like, man, it's a bad day to believe in what I believe in, and
Both
just
my
been
parents
like,
work for immigration.
oh really?
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
Hey, that's awesome. I didn't know that. But yeah, no, this is a legitimately fresh conversation. The most
For
I
all
can say
Hunter knows,
going
I
in,
voted for RFK.
I'd be furious.
I didn't.
I kid you not, I know somebody who voted for, I don't know if they ended up voting for RFK, but a few months before the election, they were like, I'm voting for RFK. And I was like, why? And she said, because he's cute.
Isn't he like 70?
I don't care. I care that that's the barometer by which this person chose their president. Like, that was what did it.
I'm not going to suggest any names or even gender for this one, but I know someone who, and if they're watching, no one's going to know it's them, but they voted for the first time in 2020, and they're not paying attention a lot politically, which is its own problem.
I mean, you can't blame people for that.
Yeah.
Like, they're voting on based on what they know,
But
and like people are just.
This person didn't even really recognize the names Trump or Biden on there, so they went with the name they did recognize. You know who they voted for in 2020?
Who?
Kanye.
Oh, that did happen.
Yeah. Kanye did make it on the ballot in Vermont.
He made it on the ballot in Vermont. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if he made it on the ballot in enough
all
states
right.
to even possibly win.
That's
but
fine.
Like,
I love democracy. I
Democracy
love
is-
democratic
that's what we're here
process.
for.
I believe in collective action and the common will.
and the good news is the common will did not elect Kanye, so small wins.
You know, there you go.
Small victory.
So hey,
There's a hint to your politics. I
yeah,
don't like Kanye.
one W on the board for democracy. Kanye is not the president.
He cannot. What did he say? He can't go DEFCON 4. What is it?
I do not pay attention to Kanye.
He said
It
some
is-
wild things
Oh,
past few months.
that I know. Oh, in the past 2 months, I just know that he said some wild things.
Oh no! The last few months, he went on another rant, and
Cool.
did you even know what he? This was like in May, I think. Do you know? Do you know he started selling on his store, his merch
Is
store?
this the diamond mask thing? All I know is that there was some joke I saw about a diamond mask, and someone said that like
It's-
Kanye was involved. Look,
It's not a mask. He removed every item off his store except for a T-shirt with a swastika on it.
and then he's probably like, "Oh, I'm so transgressive," and like it's an art thing. No, you're just.
I don't know.
you're
I mean,
just
I know his
awful.
wife divorced him, so I mean, I guess that's another silver
Good.
lining.
Not good. I don't know that anyone like personally deserves that. But okay,
No,
so
I think
you're
if you support Nazis, you probably do.
well. That is cause for an intervention, but not cause for your life to be awful. Like, should you be a Nazi? No, never. They were bad. And
Yeah.
there's like a real push of people trying to tell you, like, they're not that bad, actually. I don't like that.
Yeah.
They were bad.
They
the
were-
Nazis were bad.
Yeah, they did not do a good thing.
Yeah, they like commit war crimes.
Yeah.
They commit all the war crimes. Okay, regardless.
Literal genocide.
Yep.
Literal genocide.
Yep. And it's a genocide that we actually agree was a genocide, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. You don't get those
there's
very
Hey,
often.
if anyone wants to be mad about something, there's a really spicy take. But this is about your jumping off point. You said so. My point to the audience is just that like this is a legitimate conversation. The most I can guess about your politics is that there have just been moments of like shock and pain where we shared like a mutual silence, and
Yeah.
that everything I can infer from that is everything I know about your political beliefs. That and you chiming in, I don't like the Electoral College last week, which was
I
beautiful.
don't. I hate the Electoral College.
Because they suck and are bad. But yeah, so
But to
Floor
go off
should
that
stay.
jumping off point, you know, you absolutely should criticize your political party. And I think if there's one thing I truly hate about American politics, it's partisanship. And
Yep.
I really hate the aggressive partisanship. And I lean very far left. I can, after several years, I've been able to admit that, but I'd still like to call myself
You've been able to admit that.
Because
Why was it a struggle before?
because I like to think of myself as an independent. I don't.
Okay.
I don't want to vote for someone just because they're a Democrat.
Right.
I know last season I went through every candidate that wasn't named Trump and looked through what they were going through and be like, okay, compare and contrast. I did ultimately mostly vote Democrats, but like to me it's
Legitimately, one of the best parts of working here is that like we get to see
Yeah.
our local candidates. Like
Yeah.
Like for the record, there's a lot of like things or just like in the area or like greater Vermont area. Like the news, even if we don't like cover it directly, it passes through the building at some point. So it is so good to be cognizant of like even to our most local officials, like what do
Yeah.
people want, what do they stand for, and being in the room when these people are defending what they're doing or asking for regardless. I'm going back to that word like admit. So you end up voting largely Democrat. Is it that you say that you don't like partisanship? Like
when I was much younger, when I was much younger, I was on the internet a lot. It's early 2010s. I'm a small little preteen lad to like freshman in high school, and in hindsight, you really witness the worst of humanity on every side, and I never aligned with far conservative, far right. Like, there's so many flaws, especially today with Republicans and conservatives. But throughout my life, I see a lot of flaws on the left too.
Yeah.
And so that's been a defining part of my logic this whole time. I want to be. I'm not going to vote because I see the word Democrat. I will vote for someone who isn't named Trump because Trump is very, very bad, and I stand by that logic. But
yeah, how much do you think the like celebritization of candidacies, like polarization like is not the half of it. We are masters of propaganda right now.
Yeah.
There was a point when, and like this isn't even like a politics thing, it's a pure tactics thing, where like Fox News specifically decided that it was going to be about like the celebrity of the moment. And like you can see this in like Rupert Murdoch's own you get like this is known. This is just like what it is. And like the meetings we got, and like even hosts like Tucker Carlson leaving Fox and talking about it, like whenever you hear people talking about it, like this was like they became like missionaries to an idea where they were like, we are going to go on mission, we are going to go and we are going to like hunt down a specific thing, and we are going to highlight the emotional aspect of something. And so like the idea of like I feel inoculated to people are yelling about like we live in Vermont. I love Bernie Sanders because of what he does, but on the national level, a lot of the conversation about Bernie Sanders tends to be about like the nitpick or character aspect that can be blown out of proportion. Like it's this, we are holding on to the worst of our candidates with both hands in the media, and
like
so
how all criticism around Biden. I don't love Biden, but
I
all
hate Biden.
All the most popular criticism you see is like, oh, he's an old man, he can't speak straight, he can't stand on two legs, he probably needs adult diapers. Like,
I mean, this is
all about his age and like
right, but
And
this is a different conversation, but those are valid criticisms.
Yeah.
Like there is a point where you are just too old to be president. It's the most demanding job on earth.
Yeah, but my
yeah,
point is like the
but-
criticisms don't really go into what he's actually done as president. Oh, bye,
Okay.
Katie. Katie's leaving.
Oh, bye, Katie.
But when I see people criticizing Biden like that, it's never about what he stands for and what his policies were as a president, which really criticisms about your president should largely be around. It focused entirely on the age thing and no
Right.
further, what's the word I'm looking for? Further
Policies? Yeah.
impacts of the age. Like, I'm sure if you really looked into it, and I've not thought about Biden in a hot minute, if you really looked into it, like, I'm sure the age and those problems would tie into his policies, but like the criticism does not get into the nuance of how
So-
I find.
So, if I may, two things. I find that I have a really valid criticism of Biden. That isn't that he's too old. That is an incredibly valid criticism, I feel. But the thing that concerned me most about his age, I feel comes back to that, like, the way we talk about it and politicize it is that Biden was always on defense about his age, which to a certain extent, I don't mind. If you want to be president, you have to prove to me you're capable of the job.
Yeah.
The thing that, like, I couldn't deal with was that he was up there, like, doing the dance that I criticize Trump for all the time, which was, the just classic, these are not the droids you're looking for. No, I'm
Yeah.
not that old. Actually, I'm alert. And you would, like, I remember interviews where people were like, he was out talking me. Like, he was the most alert, like, this guy was like playing 4 games of chess and being in the sit room at the same time. People were just telling us things that could not be true, that did not square with reality. And I, a human being with eyes, can say, you're lying to me. Why are you doing that? And it's like, assuage me, assuage my fears, argue the opposite, whatever. But lying to me is not something I will ever stand for. Like that. There are, and granted, no one thing should ever be the barometer for if I vote for this person. But like that, like the criticism of, oh, he's too old is like, to use the absolutely wrong thing, literally like wrong, and another very valid criticism of the Democratic Party. It's not the crime, it's the cover-up, going back to Bill Clinton.
Okay, yeah.
And like his whole scandal. Was like, the way you're trying to tell me this isn't happening is ridiculous. So like,
But here's the other problem.
Right.
A lot of people who really push those criticisms about Biden, valid or not, they're not going to acknowledge them about the other guy.
yep.
And Trump does love his cover-ups.
So yes, and I am trying to reach a point, which is like that word, like, admit, is, do you, basically the question I have boils down to, do you feel like I have reached a point where it's the ideas I agree with and will fight for, and it's the people that I find flawed and like do not own. Because at the end of the day, like, I'm very lucky to live in Vermont, because when you vote for somebody, you own them to a degree. You have to, or like, if you do not think yourself responsible, then you're never going to learn anything you have to. But basically, I'm asking, like, the way you're talking to me sounds like you feel shame, and I'm curious, like, why and how you get there.
I would not call anything that I've done shame. I would call it, because the alternative was vote for Trump, and
Right.
that's 1,000 times worse.
I'm not talking about your vote for Biden specifically.
Oh.
I'm talking in general. You said that, like, you like to think of yourself as an independent. You have gotten to the point where you
Okay,
get like
yeah.
that's what I'm talking about.
I think, how do I word this in a way that makes sense? I would like to be able to be at a point where I can look at both parties and say, I think there's something valid about both of you, and I'm not at that point with the Republican Party, especially with Trump in control. I think, again, even if I were at that point, I would more often than not go Democrat. But like, to me, the idea that I would like to be able to say, you're not doing something horrible. I just don't quite agree with what you kind of want to do. Trump, I think, is doing many horrible things, and he's got way too many supporters backing him up and standing for those things. And I'm losing my own train of thought now because I'm talking myself.
It's okay.
I'm not used to talking about my politics in front of a camera.
It's hard. It's really hard.
This is a first, but
Yeah, it's exposed. Like, yeah.
Here's how I'm going to backstep and start over.
Mm-hmm.
I hate especially by the Democratic Party in particular. I hate the thought of hearing someone disagrees with you and deciding they're inherently wrong, they're evil, they suck. Democrats do this all the time. They're not politicians, but they're very radical people online who will say that sort of thing a lot. And it's an easy sort of thing to get wrapped up into. Like, it's really easy to jump on that bandwagon. It's like, oh, you don't believe in this thing, you must be a racist, and it's not always strictly true. And that's gonna be, yeah, I shouldn't have said that because I would need to explain that so much to clarify exactly what I meant.
Well,
but
to be clear, what I heard you say was people say this thing and it frustrates me that they say it. Like, so I want to be very clear that I have not, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, and or, you know, like, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but like, it sounds like it makes you angry that people do that, right?
it's
Or like, do you explain?
I'm gonna try an example because I'm best with examples.
All right.
Have you ever, in terms of feminism, we're the wrong people to talk about this, but it's gonna make sense. Have you ever
for
heard,
sure, yeah.
Have you ever heard the complaint, not all, like the argument, not all men?
Yep.
And how a lot of women are gonna be like, that's not valid. This is going back to my youth. I grew up where a very vocal and what I hope is a minority aspect of feminism was very much all men are terrible. We don't need men. We should get rid of men. Men's mental health doesn't matter is one that I remember very fondly. But
I fear deeply that I say that, like, in my mind I conflate things if I haven't immediately studied them. Things get fuzzy over time. And so I don't want to assign it, but there are different movements of feminism.
Exactly,
and
yeah.
that is one in particular. That is one in particular. I'm not going to throw around names of feminist movements because I really only know the ones I like staunchly agree with. It is not up to me to agree with anything.
Yeah. But to my point, like that very vocal one, I find warps a lot of the male view of feminism, and then you get people who say, well, not all men to these women, and there's even like a couple of movies where this happened, which is insane, but like you get the response that you're a misogynist for saying not all men do this, and I
no,
like to think I'm anything sexist,
this one soundbite becomes the conversation. It strips it of nuance.
Exactly. And
the exact phenomenon you're talking about infuriates me because I feel like it is used to invalidate all debate.
Exactly. Is there a name for that phenomenon? Is there like a term for that?
I know a few that I find apply very often. The closest, I don't think it's exact, but I often think about like the Woozle effect here. I think it's closer to whataboutism. And then there's just, normal logical fallacies, no true Scotsman, what was it, the Texas sharpshooter fallacy. But the like general idea, of like this, I'm going to take the worst of a group and
apply that logic to all of them.
I'm going to paint everyone with the same brush, and then I'm going to make you defend a thing you don't agree with. Like that is I feel like what people do to me. It literally, I've tried to talk to family about this, and that is the thing that we could not get over. Specifically, it was like, well, let's talk about abortion, answer me this question, and my answer was always, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't agree with that. That doesn't matter to me. And they're like, no, but I need a solution. And I said, well, I don't believe in it, so this is not where you're going to get the right solution from. And then, like, so it becomes impossible to talk about nuance.
Yeah. And like,
Yeah.
because the thing is, to go back to that one example, there are a lot of men who know,
Yeah.
hey, don't be a misogynist. I've met a lot of men who do that. I'm pretty sure I haven't done anything misogynistic. I think I would have been told by now if I had.
I live in active fear that I might one day. One of my most genuine fears on planet Earth is that I would leave any person wishing they had never met me for any reason. And like, for specifically like misogyny, it is so incredibly important for me to be aware. Like, I have known people, I have been there in the aftermath, I have like talked to people, I have known people whose lives have been utterly ruined. I have known people who have ruined others' lives. And like, society is built such that men can cause such devastation to a woman's life. Like, it is set up socially in such a way where that is possible. And whether or not that's right, it does happen. I simply know it does. I've seen it too many times.
Yeah.
And the idea that having been there to try and pick up the pieces and like try and like look someone in the eye and convince them that like it's gonna get better and life is still worth living, like, and feeling like so outgunned in the face of what they have been through, where there's just nothing you can say. Like, the idea that I would ever cause anything like that is an active fear.
Yeah, yeah.
That said, I don't think, and we are such the wrong people to talk about feminism. Like, the best thing we can do is just be the best ally we can be, listen to people, and not be a dick. It's that easy.
Yeah.
But it's really funny. I disagree with my mom on feminism a little bit, because specifically I feel like, and no, I can't. No, because this isn't fair to her. Like, her opinion is so very nuanced, but I see her like pointing me to an argument, and or the most casual form. I don't want to paint my mom with that brush. That's not fair. That's absolutely not fair. This isn't what she does at all. But like, what I will say is that the version of feminism that with my deeply, this is not the point, and I will not know about this as much as other people will, but like, the thing that gets in my mind is that I don't tend to like the view of feminism that seems to want to replace misogyny with misandry, where it's like, women are objectively better than men and everything women do is great. And like,
I don't know if you go on Letterboxd that much, but I
really don't.
I see a lot of that on there.
Well,
that's the only real social media I use, and it's for film nerds. But
well, I mean, like, and I want to be so clear, like, it's not like one of the big reasons, like, celebrate women. Like, if women do something cool, celebrate it. Have a great time. Oh my God, have fun. Create spaces where you're like, hey, look, men didn't do this. Like, that's great. Yeah. Do that. Like, have a space purely for you where my voice doesn't matter. But and it happens so very rarely, but I do bump into the argument now and again that is like, no, it's like, women need to be, we need to fully flip the system. I want it to be just as bad, but in the other direction. And it is so blindingly rare and small. And and anyone who mistakes this argument for a celebration of, women being great, and like making art that's just about women, movies that are just about women, books about women doing cool things. Like, anyone anyone who disparages that for this reason has missed the point. But the like, I bump into that argument now and again,
But
and it
he-
frustrates me because isn't the point that misogyny is wrong? So this other thing would be equally wrong, and then the answer I get is, yeah, but it's our turn. And I
that's
don't like that.
Not going to solve anything. I've been saying this for literally 10 years at this point. Because this is what I was talking about earlier, is that we say it is a very small, a very rare argument but in the age of the internet that amplifies, again, the worst of humanity.
The thing that really frustrates me, if I'm perfectly honest, when I often see it, it is people mutating something into that thing. Weird segue, but the song WAP. I have no problem with that, and I have no problem with the way people celebrated it. That's great.
I've
Good
never
for
listened
you.
to it, but I'm sure it's fine.
I like, my sister loved that song. She was like, I love it because of how I think it moves the social argument forward and how it puts certain things in the limelight. And I was like, oh, that's really great. But there are specifically, like, there are people I have seen that, like, I think my sister likes that song less now because of people she knows who tried to hijack this thing and turn it into a banner for a version of the argument that she doesn't like.
That women are better than men.
Yeah, but like, or like, just a version of this, like, argument that, like, really, it is so painful. And I feel like we maybe shouldn't have chosen feminism as the argument. I think, capitalism or the tenets of Antifa is a great example of something that, like, people absolutely hate, and, like, the movement has absolutely, like, ruined. The movement has in some ways ruined a lot of the versions of what they want. Like, when the headline of what you are is not about your ideals, you have lost the plot. But, like, I feel like there's a lot of other really good examples that I feel like maybe we would have more of a voice on. I think feminism is
to speak on the aspect of it that I do have a voice on. Going back to, like, again, I grew up for a while experiencing this environment in which that distorted view of feminism was really pushed around, and, like, right away that generates an idea of uneasiness with a great thing that is feminism. And I grew out of it. I mean, I never really leaned that hard into it. I was definitely always at the point where, like, okay, feminism is good, but this side of feminism is bad. We should move away from that feminist.
I mean,
but the thing is, I think it's still very prevalent, and I think that that line of thinking that still exists and is still very, very common, and, like, a lot of young people younger than us are put into that environment and shaped by it. I think it's left a lot of disillusioned and frustrated young men.
Well,
I would think that sort of thing is part of the cause for the conservative swinging young men that led to Trump getting elected. That's my overall point.
Right. But on that same note, I feel like that version of, because, like, inarguably, you cannot tell me, Trump would not tell you that he got elected on something other than people's fear of migrants. Like, that was so much. It was like, why is the economy wrong? It's immigration. It is like, tariffs are the answer. Isolationism is the answer. Like,
I should point out that Trump didn't just get lucky with these things existing. I know a lot of it was also him recognizing these things and taking advantage of them.
I don't think he recognized it. Like, we get this, you hear so much times, like, oh, well, people saying the quiet part out loud. I think when people say he tells it like it is, that's what they're talking about. I feel like we have been putting politics has been engineered in such a way that we keep putting lipstick on the pig. People. I don't think people. I think people have. I'm going to phrase this as I think people have views about nationalism and race that are discordant with, say, the civil rights movement. And I think our solution has been to do basically what I just did, which is, well, we can't say the thing, so we're going to talk about, like the GI Bill. We're going to say inner city kids. We're going to do like, we're going to dog whistle. And it's we're going to leave ourselves room for plausible deniability that has, I think, left the portion I think we have failed to continue to convince people that these causes are worth fighting for. I think we hung our hat and convinced ourselves that the civil rights movement was more successful than it was, or we stopped fighting for it. We said, okay, we did it, we're done now, and we're done forever, and so we stopped having the conversation. I think we let ourselves get more comfortable. I think we started teaching Martin Luther King and not teaching Malcolm X. I think we started teaching Alison Bechdel and didn't teach Simone de Beauvoir. I think there's a lot of like places where like not even I'm gonna just like the more unpopular views of what I think irks the social pains of the world. I think we decided that we had won the war and therefore stopped fighting it, and forgot that if we let go of the boulder, it will roll back down the hill. So I think that by not having that argument, by not convincing people, I think when Beauty and the Beast came out and people were arguing about the race of the lead cast member, I think that alone tells me that, like, if that's a conversation we're having, if that's what people care about, I have a member of my family who I love more than the earth itself, and to their dying day, they never listened to or watched Hamilton because George Washington was played by a black man, and that is nothing to do with, and I think that has nothing to do with their beliefs and everything to do with, it was an uncomfortable conversation I never wanted to have. That I never said, I stopped it there and said, no, you will love this. This is everything you love. It's about history and a celebration of America and where we came from, and it is a veneration of the fight and the mess that made America work and what it is, and that's beautiful, and I think that there's something you'll get out of that. And the fact that I never pushed back on that, I think, tells me that, like, I gave up having a conversation, and because of that, because I never argued the point, I think I never gave them the opportunity to change their mind. And I think in America, we've reached that point where we decided that civil rights was no longer a conversation we were ever going to have. So when Trump showed up and said, literally the first notable thing he ever said was, when Mexico sends us their people, they're not sending their best. And that was like the nicest way he ever put his views on immigration. Not they're eating the dogs. They're eating the dogs. Like, I think we stopped trying to. I think when a new generation came, we were quiet and we didn't make an argument. And because we didn't make that argument, people never got the ability to decide what they wanted to believe. It was never presented to them. And so they ended up with, if I think that morality is not so obvious as we feel it is, especially as like someone who tends to vote Democrat. I feel like morality is not that obvious. And we have to, I think every single year, every single generation, we have to convince people. And we stopped that. We gave up. We did that with the border. Trump kept screaming about the border, and then we stopped talking about it when Biden was president. And then 2024 rolled around, and every single
back on the
person
goddamn
ever,
border.
it wasn't even that we were back on the border. It was that there wasn't a single person in America that would say on the pulpit that actually immigration from Mexico is not a big deal, and like there aren't migrant caravans coming for us. Like no, that argument never got made, and for that reason, everyone's default was this is reality because it's the only voice we're hearing. So I feel like the dog whistling is infuriating because you get that on the left a lot. There are things I believe in where where a Democrat in office will dog whistle to me like, hey, gay marriage is really cool actually, and like trans rights are great, and like we want to protect abortion rights, and like they won't say the actual thing, so they get plausible deniability, but I get to believe they care about it, and I am let down every time.
Yeah.
And I think what Trump did was Trump showed up and then said, nope, let's talk about the actual thing. Let's not run circles around it. Let's not put lipstick on a pig. Let's poll. Like, I am going to talk about the actual thing you are feeling. And I think we failed to make a counter argument. And so I do not blame people who hold these views because no one ever tried to convince them otherwise. They never did. And so if you don't try to tell me, it's not on them that happened.
I think that's a crucial point that I should have gotten a little bit closer to that you got to before I did.
Yeah.
So if I'd say you're better at talking about politics than I am.
I don't know. I think like I'm trying. My goal right now is to try and like highlight a point and see if you agree, and if you disagree, I want to know why.
So far, I have agreed with just about everything you said.
Okay, well, what's something you think I disagree with?
Ooh.
Granted, I don't know. We didn't really get that deep into my politics
That's
last
fair.
time. What is something you believe in that you think most people disagree with?
It's hard to say what most people is at this point.
It's hard to say on camera. Like, it's really scary. Yeah.
So I kind of filter through as many of my... This is one that I'm going to need. This is one I was thinking about on the way over here, so I think I can handle this the most. If you cut me off at the wrong time, I'm going to sound really bad.
Sure, then I won't.
It is not inherently racist to criticize DEI programs. The idea of the act of questioning them and saying, hey, at what point is this more for diversity and not, at what point are we losing out on the most qualified candidates? Asking that question is not racist. The trouble with it is on the precipice. It is a very slippery slope into becoming racist, but it just kind of ties into what you were just saying. When someone asks that question and we immediately say that is racist and they are a bad person, that kind of takes away the discussion, destroys all the nuance that we might get out of that conversation, and ultimately widens the divide between both political parties.
So
maybe it's not so much an unpopular thing, but something that no one talks about.
First of all, I want to be very clear. I agree with you. There was a Nobel Prize in economics a few years ago that I think you should read. That was basically trying to codify the gender wage gap. It's fascinating. Hilariously, by the way, the Nobel Prize is given in Ria, and she was the first woman to win the Nobel Prize in a long time. And because of the way the stock market worked, the Ria was actually down noticeably. So she won the Nobel Prize and got less of a reward than the men did, purely because it's for economic reasons. It's purely for like economic forces beyond their control. The Nobel Prize Commission didn't organize it that way. It's just a really funny coincidence.
That's really funny.
It's really funny.
That's really funny. It's really bad. It's really unfortunate.
Especially when her
really
Nobel Prize
funny.
was for how women made less than men. It's really funny.
Oh, no.
It's so deeply hilarious. But I want to say that I really agree with you. But So I agree with you, and if I'm pushing on you, it's not because I disagree with you. On the face of what you said, I'm fully
Yeah.
behind you. But I want to try and, in an attempt to try and get to somewhere where you believe.
The face of what I said might be
yeah.
the only thing I really thought of, so there
Well-
might be something I'm totally missing.
Well, then maybe questions can help with that.
Questions are good.
So it sounds to me like your problem has more to do with the reaction to the specter of racism and less to do with DEI as a program. Is that correct?
Yeah, and like
Okay.
that's nothing to do with. I don't think my thoughts on that have anything to do with is DEI good or bad. It's fully to do with the reaction of people asking those questions.
Yeah.
And if we are going to talk about DEI, I think
It's hard to do.
really hard to do.
So, specifically, and this is a problem that I think any viewer of this is going to have to give us grace on, is that my biggest problem with politics today isn't even necessarily polarization. I think it's the smudginess. I think it's the smudginess of language, where words have definitions that have meanings. If I say the word fascist, that means exactly one thing, and you don't get to pretend like you don't know what it means. If I say slavery, you know what that means. If I say DEI, we know what that means, but the political landscape is such that we have blurred the definition of words that, like, one of the people I hate most on planet Earth is Jordan Peterson, because all he will ever do is the only thing he will ever do is if you give him a good salient reason on like, I don't like DEI or I don't think psychologically alpha males exist, and you give a reason, the only defense he will give in front of you, but not to his own audience, is, well, what do you mean by that? How do you define God? How do you define DEI? How do you define the left? How do you define the economy? How do you define global warming? All of his favorite boogeymen are, he talks circles around the definition of a word until you are blue in the face, and the only like correct answer is, no, you know what I mean, you're not an idiot. And he's like, no, but I'm trying to get to something fundamental. But no, we're not. I am trying to convince you of a point that you don't seem to believe in. I don't need you to figure out my beliefs. We both know what this word means. I don't think DEI is that hard to talk about. I just think when I say the word DEI, people are going to think it's things it's not.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that makes it impossible to have discourse, and that infuriates me.
Well, my understanding of DEI that it's we're the wrong people to talk about. I don't know why we keep going in these directions, but
Because my reasoning would be that it matters, and if we, the people who need to be convinced, don't know about it, then, like, we were talking about feminism earlier, and the one quibble I really had with anything you said was that you were like, that I don't support, but I don't think it's for you or I to support these things. I think that this is a
just to
conversation.
make clear, I absolutely support feminism.
No. I want to be, no. I don't
what
think
you just said, we should probably make that clear.
No, I don't think anyone who watches this can misconstrue that unless they really want to. I think you would have to hunt to find a world where that's the takeaway.
Yeah.
But I think that for things like DEI, racism, sexism, gay rights, trans rights, the whole flag. I think, immigration. I think a lot of these things are okay. Immigration is the one time I don't agree with this because of the structure of my belief, but I think that it is for this community to find their argument, and they have many arguments, which isn't a bad thing, because there can be more than one thing that's wrong. But I think that if we get another 70-year-old white guy in Congress to try and find the answer, they're going to do about as good a job as the last 9 million of them did. Yeah. I think that for a lot of social issues, it is, and I don't want to say the onus, I just think that, frankly, that they are more educated about the problem and closer to it in such a way that they will find a better answer than we will, and that it is for us to listen to them and just and then have the debate. I feel like I don't get to say a word about feminism. I just get to watch the conversation being had and then think about it based on my understanding of philosophy. But like that doesn't mean I get a voice. I'm not gonna walk into a rally and say like I quibble with this thing. That's I think the absolute wrong way to do it. Yeah.
I don't mean to completely like throw off the
Yeah, I don't want to walk. I don't want to walk
a
into
Trump rally surrounded by guys with AR-15s.
don't-
I have a quibble.
Yeah, I don't want to walk into a rally, hold up my hand, and be like, "Hey, I'm actually a Simone de Beauvoir guy." Like, I don't think, like, I don't like. Come on, yeah, it's like, hey, I don't see a problem with lipstick feminism. Actually, on the face of it, I think that actually is a social norm that needs to be broken apart. Like, you don't need to know that. You are the wrong crowd for me to be. I'm the one who needs to learn these things. You've been living this problem, and I need to be educated about it. Like, yeah, but like I think that it is like something to, yeah, no, I like. That is like my one quibble there. And immigration, I think, is the one time where this doesn't hold true, because immigration is our response to people coming in, which is a question of how we, as a unified conglomerate of people, want to establish our own laws, and not about like because that is the nation's decision and not an individual decision. Which, to be fair, racism, sexism, a lot of these other social issues are also on some level a societal problem.
Yeah.
But that, like, as a nation, we should have better answers to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like.
I recognize things like DEI programs exist as a solution to some of those problems.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm the wrong person asking, but I don't know if I've ever gone as far to say they are a perfect solution, because I mean it does easily bring up the argument that like, hey,
if they were a perfect solution, I would not know.
Yeah.
If we came up to a perfect, like, that's the reason that's the reason I want to, like, this is the whole basis of my belief on like why why I will never walk up to a pride parade and be like, hey, so what are your guys' thoughts on, like, no. First of all, pride's a celebration. It's not to educate dumb white people, or dumb straight people mostly. I'm both, but like, I'm straight, white, and dumb twice. Like,
Woo!
Yeah, but yeah.
Spokesman of a generation over here.
Yeah. But if there were a perfect solution to sexism, how would I know? Like, I wouldn't be able to tell you that it should be done. Like, it's a real problem, but the idea of, like, you write the bill, hand it to Congress, make your argument, and then let Congress talk it over, and if you disagree with them, do it again. Like, progress is incremental. That's how it works. Like, we vote these people in. It's a whole deal. But yeah, I don't think you or I are going to have the perfect answer to a DEI program, other than like, if I am ever hiring people ever for any reason, I know what's not going to be top of my mind.
Here's what I think in response to that.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, like, my opinions on such things should not be the final end all be all, like this.
That's why democracy exists.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I do think that, like, no matter what, everyone's going to have a say on something. But I think I'm always going to have an opinion on what I know about DEI programs. But I think the important thing is that, like, for people like us, we're going to have our opinions. We need to stand by those opinions. But we need to be open to explanations as to why.
Yeah.
We need to be able to have our minds changed.
I'm listening, I'm learning. That's the whole thing. I'm listening, I'm learning. And
that's something that, that statement really comes down to can honestly sum up pretty much all my concepts of politics in a nutshell. It's something I don't think the left does. I don't think the right does it. But so. You know what? Actually, I'm going to rephrase that.
Boy, howdy, I have a very specific
I'm going to rephrase that real
on how
quick,
I think the left does this. Yeah.
I think both sides have a problem with not doing that. It could be argued that it is, again, that very vocal minority, which I do strongly believe in, and I feel like I've seen my entire life.
I don't know about that.
I don't.
I think raw so the idea of like vocal minority polls, whatever, like we don't make decisions by committee. We are a democratic republic. People argue to us why they are a leader. And okay, regardless, and then they make decisions by committee. But the like, I think it's not so much about a vocal minority. I think it is about like again the celebritization. The like, I think it is about like, how do you incite people? Like that is, I think, the perfect word is how do you incite the feeling you want and not how do you make the argument you want. I was in Greece. I was in the birthplace of democracy, as they put it. Listen, like they're Greeks. What else are they gonna say? Like, what? Like,
it was Greek or Rome that created. I thought it was Rome that created democracy.
Greek is way before Rome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alexander
the Pretty All Right did his whole thing in Macedonia, and then the Romans later were like, "Hey," the whole point of like the Gregory. Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, my timeline in that area of world history is a little out of whack, but I mean I'm pretty sure it happened before the 1800s, but a bit before
1800 BC. No, although it depends on the islands of Crete. But regardless, but so like I was like where I stood like on the rock that Plato and Socrates. I know a buddy who calls him Socrates.
Socrates.
Yeah, Socrates. Okay, small aside. Plato means wide. So, like, Plato was very, like, probably, and, like, I'm going to scuff the argument a little bit because, you know, we're on a podcast and I'm going to tell it to you the funniest way possible. So, like, there is a fuller story here to get. But, like, Plato, like, fully, like, went by his, like, he like, signed his stage name onto his books. Like he literally, and the dude was like a wrestler, like an Olympic wrestler. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was the like same deal. Like he's just like, yeah, this is The Rock. This is my boy. He's so massive. He calls himself wide. Like, he's just so jacked, and he signed like literally. It was like if The Rock were the father of modern like philosophy. That's literally what happened. When you're talking about Plato's The Republic, you're talking about The Rock's Republic.
1800 BC, Dwayne Johnson.
1800s BC. No. Not 1800s BC. But like, yeah, no, it's really funny. Yeah, like Plato was just huge. Like you had like a wide forehead or something, so people called him Plato. They were like it was literally like people were making fun of him, and so he just got huge, and then wrestled people to the dirt, fully naked. By the way, that's what gym means. Gymnasium, gymnos means naked. The gymnasium is the place where the naked people are. They're naked, lifting weights like the Greeks do.
So it doesn't matter that I forgot my gym clothes today.
Yeah, dude, you want to talking politics? You want to eminent domain you want to eminent domain not eminent domain. Oh no, what's it called? That's eminent domain is the thing the government does to you. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like, no, I don't. I'm not speeding, police officer. I'm traveling. I have a right to travel. Yeah, that's like, yeah, I have a right to work out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy. I can't remember the name of it, but it's dumb and funny and stupid. Any idiot who, like, boy, you tell a cop that and see what they do. You tell them that actually you have a right to drive your car as fast as you want, and you see what the police do.
Yeah.
You have fun. Let's see if the Bill of Rights helps you then, buddy. Yeah, no, but
what
like,
were we talking about before?
Yeah, it's just such a fun fact.
The Rock.
Yeah, The Rock.
the Rock being a naked
It's
philosopher.
Yeah, he's just a naked dude wrestling other naked dudes for trophies, and then telling people like, dude, I just have an image in my head of he's like of Diogenes walking in, or Diomedes being like, hey, look, it's Plato's man, and he just grabs him and throws him out the window, like just fully suplexing Steve students into the ground like, you're wrong. Anyways, yeah, just awesome. But like was in like Athens, like looking at the places where like, you know, the like some of the first ever votes like happened in the Western world that I know about, to my understanding of history. I could be super wrong. I'm not an anthropologist. But the like I was in these places and like, you know, talking to people and listening to it, just like the love people had for like the democratic process and like how people did it. It was like literally you would argue on the Hill and you would vote in the market. I don't know why, you just would. Yeah, hey man, ask the Greeks, ask the Rock, he'll tell you.
Okay.
But the there's a lot of like the way democracy was built and like why it was built and how beautiful it was that it was made, and the like absolutely missing the point. Oh my God, I have people that like I really want to talk to about this, and it hurts to do, because there are points where they're like, well argued, you're very good at debate. And I'm like, no, I'm not trying to win the argument. I'm trying to convince you. This isn't about getting the most clicks. This isn't about owning the libs or schooling the right. It's about like, no, I believe in something and I think you're wrong. And if you can't convince me why you're right, we have a problem. So that's my view on it. I don't think it's like, I don't think it's reactionary. I don't know. I don't completely agree, but for very specific reasons, and I'm curious to hear more of what you have to say, because I feel like I've been talking a lot.
Yeah, about that, yeah. I don't remember what you don't completely agree with anymore. What were we saying?
We were talking about all right. Hold
DEI
on.
and
Now I don't fully remember.
Wait, how do we go from DEI to naked Play-Doh?
Because it's really funny. Because it's really funny.
To make a quick humorous aside to throw us off even more, is schooling the right an actual term people use in response to owning the libs?
No, I did it for cadence.
Okay. I was gonna say if it is, as a lib, I gotta say owning the libs does sound cooler. We need something better.
Well, I purely did it for like poetic reasons. I really hate it when you use the same word twice. It just feels like you didn't think your sentences through. So saying like owning the libs, owning the right. I didn't have what the word is for like the worst version of discourse on the left. So I just picked synonyms.
Yeah.
So that I didn't.
Honestly, it's a good thing. I really hope we're not going around saying we're schooling the right, because we're gonna sound like nerds if we do that.
Yeah, man.
Well, honestly, we shouldn't really be schooling anyone. We should be discussing.
Yeah, we should be discussing. I think better schools could help.
Yeah. Do you want to hear about how I'm a big believer in taxing the rich more, maybe defunding the military a little bit to pay for social services and better schools?
This is interesting. I don't agree with you totally. Where I don't agree with you is specifically on the military front, but I do want to hear your opinions. Yeah, talk to me.
It is, it's going to sound so uneducated when I put it like this. I know that we have an absolutely ridiculous level of budget for the military. I sincerely believe we could take like less than a quarter of that out and severely help everything else, and the military would still be funded more than every other military in the world.
So I do disagree with you. I really, and I feel like I'm doing a really bad job of this, because I try to articulate. I come from the school of debate where I have to start at the axiom and build my argument from there. So I have to start as small as it can be and work my way up to my point, which means me talking takes forever.
I don't know what axiom means.
It's the smallest a truth can be.
Okay.
So it's like literally, in mathematical terms, an axiom could be like the transitive property. If A equals B and B equals C, A equals C, right? Mm-hmm. That's like the smallest a truth can be. That will always be true. Okay. It is the like smallest, most fundamental truth is a way to think of axiom. But like if you want to debate on this, I would love to. But like I
I'm
don't
not
know if
smart
there's
enough to go for a full debate.
well, if there's other points you want to make, I want to hear those out. But if you like, I take issue with the way you seem to be putting yourself down. You started your argument with, it might sound uneducated when I say this, and that's the wrong way to do it. You are an
Yeah.
American. You have seen the results of your taxpayer dollars. You have watched the news. Like that is the wrong way to think about it. I take issue with you doing that. Don't do that. Like you don't start your belief with I think I'm stupid. That's I don't think you're stupid.
Here's what I
Yeah.
do stand by.
Yep.
We need to find a way to better fund social services, find more ways to help the homeless.
Yep.
I believe if we helped more ways to help the homeless, help more with medical help and what's the term I'm looking for? Like social service, medical help and addiction.
Yeah.
Like we don't really have any. No, what's the place rehabs?
Yeah.
I was trying to say relapse. Like that's not the right thing for
That's
drug addiction.
that's the wrong one. You know what? Actually, Will, I'm sorry to tell you, we have a lot of relapse centers.
Oh.
we have enough. We're full of relapse
It's
centers.
called Burlington. But
I promise you, relapse centers. You can find them on every street corner, my guy.
like Vermont like doesn't have
Me every time I
lot.
walk into a bar.
I was at a St. Albans City Council meeting talking about this, and like we don't have a lot of rehab areas in rehab centers in the area. We need to find ways to fund these things better, and I sincerely believe that if we had better funded public education and like maybe even like free Medicare, although I'm willing to hear an argument against that because I have not researched that enough. Is that a better way of saying it?
I mean,
But
I think like granted, and I've been doing the same thing forever, which is like couching your belief because like, hey, I'm on camera and I might be wrong, but like you know,
a big moral policy of mine
Yeah.
is be prepared to admit when you might be wrong about
Yeah.
something. But my overall point to I believe a lot of our problems would be fixed if we were able to fund these things better, like healthcare and rehab centers and public schooling and that sort of thing. And I do not see what could go wrong if we just took away a little bit of the military budget, considering how big that military budget is.
I fully agree with you on social services. As you know, as people back in the day like to talk about it, I'm a big New Deal guy.
New Deal.
Yeah, the New Deal. Hey, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Woo!
I'm a big fan of him. I gotta say.
He's my favorite president.
Yeah.
He was kind of spooky there at the end. That wasn't. I'm not a fan of the 4 terms. That's not cool.
Yeah.
Like I'm a really big New Deal guy. The whole idea of like, yo, maybe like taxes are not a bad thing, and they lead to a lot of these programs. I think one of the places I diverge from the left the most, I feel, is my stance on the military. Specifically, granted, I don't like the way we use it all the time. I think we have like a lot of these sort of most entrenched, most senior, most experienced advisors or generals we have are like Iran hawks. They like I think that they really like they have a bee in their bonnet and they are like itching for a moment to go into the Middle East and you know hit it with some good old America. And I hate that.
Yeah.
But I do think we get a lot for our military. I think like being the world's only superpower has advantages that stretch beyond pure military capabilities. Like, yes, do we need people say like, do we need another F-35? Do we need what is it? Is it a CGADS program? NGAD, the Next Generation Air Fighter. Or Air Dominance Fighter, the NGAD programs. Do we need these? Do we need if you look at the documents for what the Pentagon actually wants in their Next Generation Air Dominance Fighters, they are straight out of science fiction. They're achievable. I want to be very, very clear.
Yeah.
Like, boy howdy, Kelly Johnson might not be around anymore, but Skunkworks knows how to make a plane. Oh boy howdy, can Lockheed Martin do whatever you want it to? But like, I think the way the military works in our economy, I think the idea of the military industrial complex, let's go to war to make a reason to fund our military, I don't like that. That I'm strictly against. However, I think what we get in terms of soft power are like NATO leverage, the way like peace in our hemisphere, like when you less so these days, but like in our the world, and this is so blindingly wild to think about, but America as the world's hegemon is the only nation that, and we are not perfect at this. I want to be so very clear that there is so much room for improvement on how we treat this, but we are the only hegemon in history that has wielded our might for something other than the force of expansion. When Alexander the Great had an army, he started conquering. When when Attila the Hun got his army, he ripped apart. That was Genghis Khan. But Genghis Khan tore a city apart. So the level of his butchery was so renowned that one of the most sophisticated cities in the world, a city renowned for its art, wrote poems about how brutal the destruction was before the army got there, where they knew how bad it was going to be. There has never before been a hegemon that has refused to crush, that has refused to use its power purely for the sake of destroying countries weaker than it when it had the opportunity to. Yeah. Like the pure diplomatic, the way we rebuilt Japan after World War II, and our safety guarantee to Japan. Japan doesn't have a standing army. They have the JSDF. They have the Japan Self-Defense Force, which is purely supposed to be a National Guard level force. Because the only job of that force is to hold out until America comes in with the steel chair. Us spending so much money on our military has meant that Europe is safer and they don't have to work on is spending money on their military. Spain, France, Germany, Rheinmetall, one of the greatest defense contractors in the world, they spend less on their military because of the guarantee of safety America provides. And that means that, yes, we are spending a lot of money, but we spend less money because if a peer opponent, if China, one of the most terrifying things that has happened recently was that China showed off a new plane. And that is a horrifying prospect because the People's Liberation Army is rapidly modernizing in a way that we have to, we need a better diplomatic answer to, because when other people aren't inventing newer and better nuclear bombs, we don't have to spend money on newer and better countermeasures. The ability, peace, one of the spending money in peace, ensuring that I don't want to really get into the weeds on it, but because we spend money to stay on the bleeding edge of what a military is capable of, because we have again, if you the NGAD program is a dominance fighter, not peer fighter. We want to be able to obliterate. We want it so guaranteed that we build our military discipline and strategies around the idea that America will have wiped out the enemy air force, that we will control the airspace. Yeah. By being the hegemon, we don't have to make better tanks. We don't need to make better nukes. If you think about just what the war in Ukraine has done, the threat of the threat and advancement of the Russian program has caused people to start spending money on their nuclear programs again. That didn't used to happen at the end of the Cold War. Well, actually, at the end of the Cold War, at the end of the Cold War, that didn't used to happen. Yes, we spend so much money on the military, and that sucks, but the world is safer. And listen, I have people who are like, yeah, but I only care about America. When there aren't wars around the world, we are safer. If people aren't developing nukes that can cross the ocean, we don't have to be scared of that. If people aren't developing navies that can combat ours, we are guaranteed to be safe. If you think about, and this is such a weird thing to say, but the scale, the size of 9/11, it was a wildly small attack. If you look at what's happening in, Gaza every day, Ukraine, there are places around the world where things like that are so we had no idea what, IEDs and devices when we were in the Middle East, how bad that was, because we are so incredibly safe, because it is financially impossible for another nation to develop a military that is comparable to ours. That guarantee of safety is so incredibly important. And the fact that the PRC doesn't agree with us is why China is spending so much money on their military makes us need to spend more. And it's hard, and we aren't perfect, and there aren't good enough answers to it, but we actually get value for money. I don't want another war to happen. I don't want to invade anywhere. But the fact that it is so hard for anyone else to do this means that, Europe can find a cure to cancer. It means that, maybe one day the Middle East can figure itself out. I mean, I don't have high hopes for that, but that's a horrible example. But the idea that the expansion of NATO means that there will probably not be a war the scale of World War I or II ever again. That's a good thing.
Is it worth existing as essentially a looming threat hanging over everything?
So this is the big caveat. If we are responsible, which up till now we have proven ourselves to be, when NATO, there are, so long as we do show that Article 5 is something that we are willing to do, so long as walk softly, carry a big stick, so long as we are capable of demonstrating that will uphold our oaths, so long as America keeps its honor, yes, I believe so.
And that brings me to my other question. How much longer is America's honor going to last? Because I know this is often treated as a joke and no one takes it that seriously.
I was literally just in Greece. Let me tell you, being in another country and having people spit on you for being American.
Oh, wow.
Dude, when I was in Japan and Ireland, we had to justify our existence. We had to, people were like, what has America done? I spoke to a guy in Ireland who was heartbroken. He was like, I loved America. I wanted to go to America. And you, he was begging me. He was like, stop making a fool of yourself. I'm ashamed of you. I'm ashamed to have ever loved you. That's hard. I was in Canada not too long ago. How much do you think they like us? They elected their prime minister because he was willing to stand up against us. No, the new Canadian prime minister does not like Trump at all.
Yeah, I was keeping an eye on that as he was getting elected.
Yeah.
But the question I have is the basis of this is it works as long as we keep our honor. And this, as I was saying, this was kind of treated as a joke and no one takes it seriously. Yeah. Trump has suggested taking Canada by force.
He's suggested invading Greenland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't really take these things seriously, but someone suggested it now, and I have a feeling that
and that is the most hard. That breaks my heart. I agree with you.
Yeah.
That is the most damaging. That's not true. It's impossible to sort what I feel is the largest damage Trump has done, but that has to be right up there.
That-
The idea,
honestly, that's
like,
that's a fair pick to be right
the
up there.
like the idea of like you have to understand like people call him the greatest deal maker in the world, but oh my god, if you think purely strategically, the idea of him saying like he's like, well, I want Greenland, and it's like, oh, are you gonna buy it? And he says, I'm not ruling anything out, and they're like, but you're not gonna invade, right? And he's like, I don't want to rule anything out. Any answer other than, are you kidding me? They're a member of NATO. If they were invaded, we would actually be forced by our obligations to sally in and defend them for the honor that they have shown us. The idea that we would attack Canada when they were the first people who went into Iraq with us. They were our most staunch defenders. There were blue on blue incidents. One of the most famous blue on blue incidents of the entire Iraq war was an A-10 shooting down a Canadian tank, and they forgave us. They defended us. They fought in our wars for no other reason than they agreed to do it because they believed in us that much. And having a president who refuses to oh my god, who is it? I saw someone say like, is anyone our friend anymore?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the damage done purely in the sense like if you think NATO is taking us for a ride, if you think that like us owning Greenland would be a good idea, that's fine. That's a political belief that I might believe you have a good argument for. But if you include violence, if you include a military option in that, you have ruined any diplomatic answer we could come up with.
Yeah.
The damage that has done will last for generations. The latest NATO summit was a lot of people smiling and telling Trump whatever he wants when they're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
They just won't. Like they're treating him like the biggest baby in the world, and they're treating him like an idiot child. They're like, oh, look at this pretty letter. Look at these jangling keys. Like they watching how other countries treat Trump infuriates me because I know that they think all of America can be as easily bribed, can be as easily assuaged, that they think I own every argument he's ever made because he is the spokesman of our nation.
I like to
on
think
the world
we
stage.
are so openly polarized that not everyone assumes that about us, right? No, they all assume we're Trump supporters.
Buddy, I've been to Japan, Canada, Ireland, Greece, Turkey, Cyprus. Like since Trump has like been elected, not like this, but between his two terms. And let me tell you that the evolution over time is wild. That it went from like confusion to abject horror to all of these other things. But let me tell you that no, that's how. Let me ask it to you, so this isn't a perfect comparison because when anything happens in American politics, the whole world knows about it. You might not know what's happening with the Tories in England right now.
I have a vague idea.
Yeah, I do because I'm a freak. I'm a news freak who cares about that kind of thing.
I do because my mom's British.
That makes a lot of sense. But like, how about the recent French elections and everything that's going on with Emmanuel Macron?
I briefly heard about that at one point.
Yeah, I'm a news freak who care I care what's happening around the world because the world's a scary place right now. But like, however much they think of us as like feckless idiots, and the only reason for that is Donald Trump. There is no other reason. It is just him making the most blinding, like the tariffs alone.
Yeah.
Literally don't make sense. and I know that people need convincing of this, but like the point of a tariff is to try and basically it is not a subsidy, but is an incentive for Americans to buy American things. If you tax me for buying a a chair that comes from France, but you don't tax me from buying a chair that comes from America, then the one in America costs less. It is just a tax.
Yeah.
Tariff is a tax. Like, this isn't hard. But like the problem there is if you say tax washing machines and then America doesn't make washing machines,
Yeah.
where am I going to buy a washing machine? Like, you have to give these businesses incentives. They can't make factories overnight. They have to, like, they need to train workforces. You need, like, electricians and you need, like, people who know how
Did
to
we talk about
service
this
them. You
last
need
time,
engineers.
or-
I think so. I don't remember.
We've
but,
either
like,
had this
yeah.
conversation on camera or off camera, but yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, but if you live in another country and you know the most basic thing about, because you want to know the biggest difference between other people in other countries and the people in America is that the people in other countries, when we pass a bill, they read what's in it. And so I have to go there and they say, why is this? And I have to explain to them, people don't know what that means. And they're like, how do you not know what that means? This is devastating to the world economy. And I say, yes, but I know people in my own family who don't. It is literally the only correct answer is to tell them we are too stupid to understand what it is we just did. When Marjorie Taylor Greene goes on the air and says, I didn't read the bill I just passed, they
That
did.
reflects on all of us.
Yeah, they did. So they are more educated on what it is we are doing than we are. And all we know is this politician I like said this, and this politician I didn't like said this other thing, and oh, well, Trump did it, so it must be bad. There are things Trump has done that I think are good. I have one person who it infuriates me that the only way that they'll ever talk to me about politics is if I give them 3 things I like about Trump, which is it's a horrible way to talk about politics. It's like, well, you just don't like everything Trump says. And I go, no, I've told you 11 things I do, actually. Like, there are things, I think, the way Trump handled, and oh my goodness, I'm forgetting the name of the country right now, but Serbia, I think. I'm probably wrong, but I think it was. But there is a country in the Middle East that managed to get its freedom. They overthrew.
Serbia's not in the Middle East. That's a Russian.
Yeah, no,
place,
I know.
isn't
It's
it? Syria.
Syria.
Syria's in the Middle East.
I think it's Syria. It also might. I don't know. I honestly don't know the geography of it that well. No, I do, because I know that. I know
there's Saudi Arabia on the bottom, and there's a little bit next to the water where
regardless,
Israel and
there's
and
a country that
fighting.
it was a Russian American proxy war, basically, but without America's help, they were able to overthrow a regime that they hated, and the person who became in charge of it used to be a member of the Taliban, and said, listen. I know, but he said, listen, we need to build a new country. It cannot be a regime. I am going to step down. We are going to vote democratically, independent of America. Let's go and put some democracy in the Middle East, independent of us. These people came to this conclusion on their own, and the worst possible thing that could have happened is that we put in place sanctions and whatnot to keep their economy smothered because we didn't like the regime that was in place, and having this burgeoning nation inherit the old one's debts could have destroyed any possible path forward for them in a way that made sense. And Trump forgave them, a person, and he got flack for it, because the headline you read is former Taliban leader is the new leader of this country, and you go, oh my God, that's terrible. But here's a man who's saying no, I was wrong. Violence isn't the answer. We need a new dawn. We need a new way forward. Who wanted to be better than his past was doing his and that was hard. I don't necessarily believe that any American president would have done that. That took real bravery and knowledge and statecraft. That wasn't just, oh my God, Trump did the bare minimum, yay. That was a legitimately, regardless of what happens, it could all go wrong. It could. And it could age poorly. He could have that hanging around his neck in the future. That it might have already. I don't know. I've had too many other headlines to keep up with. But I personally will never hold it against him that he gave a country trying to be better,
that's something-
trying to overthrow the yoke of tyranny, a chance. That literally is that was an incredible thing to do.
Yeah.
That's and Trump did it. And I know people who are like, "Oh my God, Trump likes this guy. That's the end of it." And that's all they were willing to say. And that it sucks. But
it's suffice to say, in terms of the media, it's not just Fox News that's guilty
well,
for our
it's
problems.
not even just that, but it's us as Americans. That's what the people in the other country are seeing. Is that they know more about this than we do? Is that we are too stupid to understand the consequences of our actions, and they're right.
Can I say a word?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've talked over you a lot.
Fuck. Oh, fuck.
Oh wait, did I didn't.
Did you not censor the last one?
I did not.
Oh, I fully gave you time to censor those two, so
Yep.
that was the whole point there.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it's fine. Whatever.
Yeah. There's the little box YouTube makes you check that says, "Is this for kids?" And every single time I say no.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Come on, kids. Listen to our talk about
Don't-
world politics.
Don't don't do that. You have history books to learn about politics and or just the news.
Yeah.
News.
Yeah, we are not the answer.
we are not a media outlet.
But
So your politics. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. No,
I'm so sorry.
This
I
is-
went off on a tangent. Yeah.
that was a good tangent.
Your
to go on.
politics. Yeah.
But to go back, and this might also open up a whole new question, but I'm going to put it on the back burner.
Oh boy.
Don't worry about it. We're having fun.
We are having fun. Wait. No, that does say what I think it does. Okay.
That does say what you think it does.
I was like, maybe it's 1 hour.
No,
later than- no.
We've been doing this for quite some time, but this is
It's a good
actually.
conversation. Yeah.
I feel like I say this every week. This is probably my favorite episode so far.
Yeah, and I wanted it to just kind of be about yours, but we ended up we're debating things,
Yeah.
which I think is better.
I think it's a better
but
political
also,
episode than the last political
I
episode.
want nothing more than to shut up and let you talk.
But the thing I was saying is that we were talking about America military, big, powerful, going to defend us, going to defend the world and keep us safe via the looming threat of destroying everything. But it only works as long as America still has honor. Trump has put that honor into question.
Your point is, Your point is, I guess your question is, can America be trusted with this power anymore?
Here's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You are right. Like, what you said makes sense about the military. But Trump has put that honor into question. I don't think he's going to attack Greenland or Canada anytime in the near future. I don't think he's going to get around to that. And he changes focus so often. But he has put the idea out there. And that has made the possibility that someone might in the future. So I would say now might be the time to reconsider that notion. Because America's honor is very much in question right now, I would say.
You don't know if we can be trusted with the kind of power America has had up until now. Is that a fair assessment?
I don't know what you think about the word. I think. Yeah,
I'll be clear. This isn't a gotcha question. I don't have a good answer for you.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand your. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
You know, I don't want to say we can't be trusted, because you're right. It is remarkable that we've done a pretty good job of not attacking Canada up to this point when we easily could, but I don't want to say not trusted, but Trump has put that question out there, and I think it is another conversation we as Americans need to have.
I think that's fair. I don't have a good answer for you.
And
I think that's an incredibly, incredibly valid counter argument.
And there is, and again, that military budget, I know we're getting our money's worth, but it is very, very big, and other budgets are very, very small.
There is, so talking about a space I do know, I do think that, I think that we could change our appropriations process. I think that there is ways to make how we, spend our money on the military make more sense that I think could result in us spending less. I think that there probably is a lot of waste, and possibly corruption. I don't know enough about the Pentagon to speak on it, but I do know that like a very, very dumb thing is that Call of Duty, the video game, is basically a military propaganda tool. Like it is. The military funds that game. They pour money into that game.
They fund it?
Yeah, they spend money. No, they do that for like gun realism and whatever. Because if you play Call of Duty, it makes you want to join the military. Like they know it's a recruitment tool.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, well, even more fascinating. Actually, not even more fascinating. That is a whole like we could talk for hours on just that point. But the like recently the actual budget for one of the Call of Duty games got released, and like average budget for a video game, and I mean like the biggest video games you know about, like
PS5 Spider-Man or
PS5 Spider-Man.
Jedi Fallen Order
We're talking like $4 million.
Okay.
Like insane amount of money, maybe more, maybe like $40 million, right? Like I don't think that that's right, but let's say $40 million. Let's go all the way out there. Like,
so
oh my goodness.
If the most expensive video games cost $40 million, what does Call of Duty cost?
$360 million.
Jesus Christ.
And you want to know the thing? The thing about that is that's how much money the Pentagon was willing to spend on that video game. And if you play that video game, you can't see $360 million in there.
Yeah.
So the question I have is like, where'd the money go?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't.
And so this again,
yeah.
You make a good point. The military budget is being used to fund things like the air domination.
NGAD.
NGAD.
Next generation air dominance
fighter. It's been used to fund things like that have a genuine use. But there's no way everything that budget is being spent on is at the same level of importance.
I agree.
I sincerely believe there are parts of that budget that are going toward things like Call of Duty that could be taken out and gone toward more beneficial things.
See, this point I do agree with. I agree with that. Like we should be more cognizant of how we spend money on the military. I absolutely agree with you there. I don't think that we should just cut like a tenth of the budget and have them figure out what needs to go. I think that that's the exact mistake Doge made. I think we have to go through these things with a fine-tooth comb.
That's a good point.
I think that sunlight would help. A lot of these are arcane and insular, and we don't know how the sausage gets made, and it's very the Pentagon is a game of like who knows who to get like contracts and whatnot, and what you're willing to spend, and and I get that it's hard because there are good reasons to waste money, believe it or not. there are. So our shipbuilding, as an example, we don't have.
I fully thought you just said shit building, but
I wish. We don't have dry docks in the U.S. that can build like new grade battleships. We use like Korea and Japan have some of the best dry docks in the world. The reason we don't have that, we also have a rule that says we can't buy anything. Like America is not allowed to use any military technology that wasn't made in America. Which to some degree makes sense. Like for protecting domestic industry, this is this is a point where like tariffs make some amount of sense because we do have this domestic industry. But we had these dry docks. We made Iowa class battleships. We made the Gerald R. Ford class aircraft carriers or super carriers. But because we didn't continue to spend money on it, even when we weren't making new ones, that like these atrophied. You can't make a brand new tank factory overnight. Even if we're not in a war, we need to buy X new tanks because not because we need them, but because we need to keep X number of tank factories open just in case we do. There's also like, you could go out and you could buy like 2 tanks are proposed to you. One of them is worse than the other, and you buy the worse one. Because if you bought from like contractor A, the one that had the better tank, 8 times in the past, well, if contractor B loses one more contract, they might go under or they might get bought out by contractor A, and less competition means that we spend more on the next tank program. There's only like Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics. There isn't like as many like the market for like places that can make the next tank, the next aircraft, the next are shrinking, and we are paying out the nose for that because of supply and demand. They can ask for however much they want.
Yeah.
So like develop it. So like there are good reasons to spend money that you would think needs not to be spent. And so I think to allow for that, we have made the buying process within the Pentagon very arcane, which means that we have left room for ways to spend money that we shouldn't. But even if there are like poor ways to spend money that we should continue to do. So it's difficult. It is a difficult conversation, and it's really hard for the Pentagon to defend themselves if they're telling you, no, we bought the worst tank, and no, we're buying X new we're buying a million more planes we don't need. Like that's really hard to defend, but there's really, really good reasons for doing it. But that said, wholeheartedly agree with you.
Yeah.
Like how we spend money on the military, I personally am a lot more willing to debate than if we should spend money on the military. That's the part I disagree with people for. Okay, we've been here for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New record.
That said, tell me 3 things you haven't been able to
Oh, okay.
without me being able to respond.
What do we got? What do I got? What do I got? What have I not mentioned? I've thought a lot about taxing the rich, and I've realized lately that if we were to just tax the rich more, they'd probably go to a different country where they wouldn't get taxed as much. So I think we should find a way to tax their business interests, almost like little mini tariffs on their specific products that we can still tax them with. Maybe like taking a sales tax off the buyer and put it onto them. So like when we pay for something, some of that money we send gets taken out of that money instead of tax getting added onto what we pay. So they make a little less, and then we don't have to pay those taxes.
Okay.
That's one thing I think makes sense. That's a random thing off the top of my head. What else do I? What's a random top? You know, we were talking a bit about decent things Trump has done, which are really hard to find. As the son of immigration officer parents, very different.
Very different.
I get kind of a front row seat at hearing that like with Trump's new immigration policies, they have been able to be more effective at their job, and a lot of really bad people, like who were doing a lot of bad things in America, they've finally been able to get rid of. I think there are very clear problems with how Trump has done it. Like we deported citizens that never should have happened, and we should have brought them back immediately. And I think there are definitely arguments to be made that this whole thing could be done with a little bit more humanity. But on the basic level, with those flaws in mind, okay, fair point. That's a decent, not terrible thing Trump did. I'm not sure it makes up for everything else. But
Yeah.
I mean, Trump did do a great thing with. Are we settling on Syria? Are we going to say it's Syria and hope we're right?
No, we're not going to say the wrong country and hope we're right.
That's a terrible
This
idea.
happened in a country.
A country
I am
in
not
the
sure
Middle
which.
East, and
The news is. I am befuddled by the news. I am very likely conflating things I shouldn't.
That's fair.
And it is a
It
is a mark of the times, and quite possibly against me, that I am unable to disambiguate these things that are so deeply serious and feel like they are happening so deeply fast that I cannot in the moment tell them from one another. That is a problem, and I apologize for it.
That's fair.
I also want to be very clear that I'm not being quiet because I agree or disagree with you, but simply because I'm giving you room to
It is
talk.
my turn.
Yeah.
It's my turn, Hunter.
Yeah.
I will not be
very
silent
sorry.
any longer.
You shouldn't. You should just yell at me. You should just talk over me.
I'm too nice for that.
Do it anyway.
I don't like cutting off people's points. Because
yeah.
it sounds like you're going to say something interesting every time.
Yeah, but I want to hear what you have to say.
Thank you.
I want to comment on it, but my comment shouldn't be longer than what you have to say. Yeah.
What's a third fun Will thought about the political world that we live in? On the spot. Inheritance. You know what? I was about to talk about inheritance tax. Let's just talk about tax in general. I think you hinted this earlier. Taxes make sense. I think I've heard You know, I went to college with a bunch of libertarians who said taxation is theft. I
Bless
disagree.
their hearts. Bless their.
I have opinions on libertarians,
Boy,
but
howdy, I do too. Like, bless their little tiny hearts.
but taxes suck. No one likes taxes, but that is part of the agreement you make living in a society. You will pay money to live in a society and try and make it better, to make the society function as you want. I will definitely argue that the taxes we are paying are not always spent in the best ways and could absolutely be better. But the idea of taxation is required for a community to work to your benefits. And people who believe taxation is theft do not realize how much they benefit from taxes.
I'm not going to cut you off.
Did I have something I wanted to say? What about libertarians? What was I going to say?
If you ever want to have a conversation with a libertarian, I do the same 3-step debate every single time.
I wish you told me this about 4 years ago. What do you got?
It's the same 3-step debate every single time. It's so what are your opinions on X thing? And then it's very clear that they're a libertarian. They're like, oh well, I think that like taxes, I think that like the market.
Oh, I remember
should
what I
be,
wanted to say, but yeah.
it's like I think the market should be free, blah blah blah, like that. And I'm like, okay, great. I agree with you, but not to the extent that you're talking about. And then it's like, all right. So what are your problems with America? And they go, oh, this, and this. And of course it's taxes and like this. And if we just gave all the money to the rich people and it was like, oh, well, if I just had it, like if I didn't have this and there were all these laws, I'm like, okay. Question 2, what is your answer to these problems? Yeah, what is your answer to the problem you just told me? And they go, oh, they'll figure it out. And then I go, cool. And then they sit with themselves and go, and then you're done.
Oh no, the ones I've encountered said, "Oh, I don't know, but I'm still right."
Yep. That's one of 3 things. They'll go, wait. They'll go, no, I'm still right about this, or they'll just believe in their little hearts that it's all gonna work out because that's always what happens, definitely. And we didn't have an entire Boston Tea Party about it.
Yeah. Oh, because we should never do any regulations on business because businesses have never done anything wrong to the people ever.
Yeah. No, it's just obviously obviously laissez-faire business practices are the best business practices, and no, I don't know why the Great Depression happened. Great, and Will, this has been excellent. This has been truly awesome.
This has been definitely my favorite episode so far.
I want to do more of this. I want to do more of this. I feel like we could keep going forever, but I have things I have to edit.
Friends becomes maybe political candidates.
No. Nope.
All right, I'll be your vice president.
Okay, actually, you know what? Let's edit out a really hot one. What are your opinions on Zohar Mamdani?
Okay, so he as a New York mayor, I have not looked into him as recently as I should. It's been a hot minute since I've looked into what he's doing.
Hey, that's a perfectly valid answer. You can end it right there. If you checked, just like, hey man, I didn't read up about it.
I loved every single thing I could find about him.
I love him.
For the first time, I have a politician I can believe in a hot minute.
It feels so good.
I love the man.
Oh my God, I love Zohar Mamdani.
If he runs for president, I will join his security and defend him with my life.
No, he can't.
He can't?
Nope.
Oh, because he
was born in Uganda.
Shit.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
All right, we changed the law. Damn it.
No. That's how people justify Trump. We don't get to do that.
That's a good. Yeah, you're right.
We don't get
to
do that.
You know,
we have to.
I said that without thinking, and I immediately take it back.
Nope. We have to believe in our beliefs every time, even when they're inconvenient for us, because otherwise they're not beliefs.
But he's so good. Okay, we need him to win every election, so the Democrats know.
No, we just need this to convince the DNC that like this is actually what people want.
That's what I'm saying. We need him. That's what I'm saying.
We just need him to be successful, because then it gets harder to argue why Bernie never should have been the candidate.
That's exactly what the point I was going to make. We need to win more elections and be successful, so that the Democrats would be like, wait, they don't want people like Biden?
Yeah.
What?
No, my single biggest problem with, like, I was at the top of this episode, we were talking about, like, I think there's some very valid criticisms of the Democrats. My biggest one is that, like, or rather criticisms of Biden. I feel like people don't understand why they don't like Biden. I feel like there's a lot of people say like he's old, and I feel like the thing that people can't articulate. That is a much better way
to explain what I was trying to say at the start of this whole thing.
At the start of I'm going. Listen, I just don't want to cut you off, man, and I'm trying.
No,
I'm
you
doing
go
my
for it,
best.
go for it. You go.
But I feel like my biggest problem with Biden was the lying. My second biggest problem, and it is only by this much, but my second biggest problem with Biden is that he was objectively the most progressive president we have ever had in American history. And I feel like he was the most progressive president we've ever had in American history too late. I feel like he did the bare minimum of what we have been screaming about. The fact that he was the first president that ever walked the picket line on the side of the unions, that's great. But also, we've had 47 presidents, and the 46th one was the first guy that ever did that.
Yeah.
He did all of these
That's
other
something
things.
I did not know, and
Yeah.
that's crazy.
If you think about it, like, yes, he did all of these things that were like objectively the most progressive things that we have ever done. And also, we have only been asking about this for 2 decades. We have only been screaming about this since like neo-libertarianism or the New Deal. Like these ideas are 100 years old. They're somehow older than he is. And the Democratic Party has just not believed that it's what America wants. They have not once ever been willing to do it. And every single time Biden ever did anything good for us, it was handed to us with scorn. It was like, here you go, you dumb idiots who think this is gonna work. Like, you can tell they didn't believe in the things they were doing. Okay, I'll stop. I'm sorry. No, yeah. But like I think that the reason people like hated Biden is that Biden was like screaming like, isn't this enough for you? Haven't I done what you wanted yet? And the answer is no.
You started.
Yeah, like you started, but like this was supposed to happen 20 years ago. Arguing with Big Pharma, great.
Yeah.
Where was that in 2008? Like it's the attitude with which he did it. It wasn't that he was a warrior for our beliefs. It was that he was trying to meet the bare threshold of what has been acceptable to us, the voters, but not acceptable to Democratic presidents. That if you're a Democrat and a president, you're allowed to get away with disappointing us. And he is like,
Oh, that's an amazing quote.
it's true, and I hate that. So that is one of my biggest. That was my biggest problem with Biden for a minute. Like while he was still president, I was not happy. Like middle of his term, I was not happy because I was like, okay. What, like, this is the first step and you're treating it like you won the war. That tells me you don't understand the problem in the first place. You don't know enough about what's making me mad. Like, yeah.
Whew.
Are we friends yet?
I think we are friends.
We're getting better. We're getting
definitely
closer.
getting better.
This conversation could have gone horribly.
Honestly, we agree on many things.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm that surprised. I think
I feel like if you meet me, you're like, oh man, this dude's like this dude's like a Leninist or something, and I'm really not. Like I'm a Bernie guy. I'm a huge Bernie guy, and that should tell you a lot. But it's also for sure not my entire swatch of political beliefs. I gotta get home. I gotta go. Like, dude.
But also, the terms like communist and stuff like that are quickly becoming one of those things that Republicans just throw around. That term
That's a
when they
word
don't
with
like
a
something.
definition that means something.
Yeah, and it's kind of
again,
starting
we
to
are
lose that definition.
befuddling language. Yeah, that's a word that means something. When I say Elon Musk is a neo-Nazi, that's a word with a definition that means something. That it means something beyond stuff I don't like. Man.
He wasn't saluting. He was just throwing his heart out to the audience.
Dude, have you seen the stuff going on with Grok? Where Grok has been calling itself Mecha Hitler. Wait, and yeah, it's like someone said like Grok's too woke, so Elon Musk is like, I'm gonna change that. And then now it's like straight up spelling out the N-word. Like, and it's like, oh, the number of people I know who are like, I'm so shocked. And I'm like, oh yeah, yup, yeah, no. Elon Musk's heart went out to you and you're shocked that Grok is calling itself Mecha Hitler. This is a surprise to you. Boy, you...
Oh, that's so bad.
It's like, no, oh my God, Schadenfreude, it feels so good. It feels so good to be sitting here and being like, yep, this took you by surprise, huh? like, man, boy howdy, it's not that I don't believe that you didn't think this was going to happen. It's how funny to me that you thought this wasn't going to happen. That, like, you convinced yourself that this was not the case.
Just say,
that's hilarious.
Let's just say credit where credit's due.
Yep.
He did make it not woke.
Yeah, it's not woke now.
He succeeded.
Yep. It's so funny. It's really, really good that the opening bump to this says like the views of this program does not necessarily speak for Northwest Access TV.
Yeah.
Because we really don't.
Yeah, we speak for ourselves.
Yeah, we speak for ourselves. Next time, we
never
gotta find a way
more
to cover that up. That needs to not be there.
Oh yeah,
time.
Alan intentionally brought the camera down so we could show
Sorry.
that.
Sorry, Alan.
We probably should have told you what we were talking about today.
Yeah, we're bad. We could just put, like, we can color match and put a block over it.
That's true. I don't think we should color
I don't know what Josh is gonna do with the versions of these episode. I said to him, he can just edit this last part out. No one needs to know.
That's true.
Yeah.
I say we do a color block. We make it like a really obvious one. So like it's clearly just a black bar covering, like you know something's there.
I don't know. Regardless, we do not speak for Northwest Access. This is just Hillary and just Will's opinions. I cannot be clear enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our opinions are correct.
Nope.
No, yeah,
Nope.
that's a joke.
That's not how democracy works.
That was a joke.
Yep. All right.
All right.
I mean, we already did our outro. I don't know.
This has been Maybe Friends.
This has been Maybe Friends,
think...
Will, are we friends yet, bud?
Yeah. Oh, wait. That's my phone.
I'm keeping that.
I hope so.